Ladies and gentlemen, first time alert, the amazing, wonderful model. You've seen her on FHM, Playboy, Sports Illustrated, Maxim. I used to work there. Amy Taylor. We've got all of her fun social medias up and on the ready. Not only that, member of Mensa, got an undergraduate degree at Berkeley, has an MBA, licensed pilot. That can be also very sexy, too. Just an overall, she does more before 6 a.m. than I do in many a month.
Yeah.
A little bit like the Marines. Come on in, my dear. Right by the drunken cat and stripping mouse. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey guys, welcome.
I just listened. I didn't even get a chance to talk to you about it when I got in today. I just listened to you on Gutting the Sacred Cow.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good. And by the way, not only did you gut it, you reminded me, risky business sucks.
I mean, strong words, sucks. It's fine.
I never liked it at the time, and I watched it recently, and it still doesn't hold up.
The soundtrack is clever.
Soundtrack's cool.
Yeah.
Forgot about Tangerine Dream, whatever they called. Yeah, you guys talked about that a little
Sexy
bit.
music.
Yes.
You're right. Like it's kind of. I mean, it's hard to watch now because you know what he became. And so all I'm thinking is like science.
He's hard to watch in that, though. There's no character that has any redeeming quality in that movie. Not a one. Though I thought Rebecca De Mornay was very hot, but she is an automaton at the beginning and is so at the end. And the only difference in the middle is that Tom Cruise just becomes just like her.
When any New Yorker, the sex on the train thing just does not work for anybody.
Oh, don't get it. Don't get it.
Can you imagine here?
Yeah, I mean, I got a trainologist friend, and I think that's a made-up word. He's just obsessed with trains. You've met him several times.
Okay.
Obsessed with. I've never asked him, and I don't want to know if that is a fantasy of his because he loves the whole train thing. Does he want to take it as far as that? Which is again sanitary.
Well, he might have so much respect for trains that he wouldn't dare.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sacred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think he's ever had sex. There's that as well.
Busy thinking about trains.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Also, especially with your pilot's license, what are your thoughts on the Tom Cruise franchise that is Top Gun? I mean, does that work for you?
Maverick, I went and saw it so many times.
Oh, did you? I still haven't seen it.
Pilot porn. I mean, that opening scene, the Dark Star, the Skunk Works plane in the beginning scene that flies at Mach 10. Yeah, I'm not privy to military stuff, the technology we have, but I grew up in Sacramento near Beale where they flew the SR-71 that flew Mach 3.
Ooh.
And people thought it was a UFO because it was classified at the time. You know,
yeah.
Over Albuquerque.
Half of them are in it. Yeah.
I mean, when they'd come home to Beale in Sacramento, they could see it from Phoenix because they flew it, flight level 717.
Oh, man.
And they flew it Mach 3, which is about 1,800 miles an hour, give or take. And what does
that do to your organs? Good Lord.
They had to wear astronaut stuff because, there's no air up there to breathe.
Yeah. Oh, my.
And, I mean, aviation is the history of madmen, the people who said. And
great way of putting it.
Yeah, pilots. I mean, that view you have from your airplane seat when you fly on JetBlue and it's annoying, TSA and LaGuardia, that view out your window, we've only had that for a century.
Yeah.
And now you can be anywhere in the world in a day. I mean, what a time to be alive, right?
Yeah.
It's unreal. And those machines that fly across the planet at unimaginable temperatures and speeds, and then they edge up to the gate like a swan.
Ideally.
It doesn't always go this way.
Exactly, yeah.
But, I mean, I think aviation is miraculous. I wish I could live a lot longer to see what's coming.
Yeah, God. You're blowing my mind right now. Well, how about you? Are you getting better about flying?
Sort of. Yeah. I have found the older I get, the more anxiety I have with flying. Maybe it's just because I am doing it more and I'm an adult, so there's more responsibility on me. Like I loved flying as a kid because it was a treat. We didn't do it a lot.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about anything. An adult is telling you where to go, holding your stuff. You just get to sit and you get to, I get to watch a movie or I get to, it feels very special and exciting. And as an adult, I guess it's just a lot more work and it feels more like a chore. And then I've had some not so great flights with like very bad turbulence. One flight from the west to the East Coast, there was like a significant drop that no one was expecting. Like I saw a baby like go up in the air a little bit. It was.
By the way, I would have loved that.
It was kind of
That'd be better than the on-flight movie.
So it's really just like takeoff. Or another time we had to like do an emergency landing because there was some issue with the engine, and so it's really just takeoff that I have the biggest nerves about, because I've heard that's the time when the most stuff could go wrong. Turbulence in the air doesn't bother me because I know you're not just going to plummet. Like, that's not what happens. Also, my husband's father was a pilot for many, many, many years. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I'll talk to him about stuff, and like I think actually learning about the physics of things or how things work helps with my anxiety as well.
Yeah, there's like knowing about something, unfortunately, knowing that takeoff is the riskiest time, that is true.
Yeah.
I did not know that until she said that.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
folks.
now I'm getting a phobia.
But I mean, it is a sort of ludicrous thing to get in a plane that you cannot control and trust that these two people in front will take you up and down safely.
Yeah.
That's normal and logical. That's unnatural for us. We're land living creatures, and that you'd be in trouble if they both passed out or something. They're probably
Well, and this is not
I wasn't thinking about that part, but now I am.
Well, this isn't a brain buster, and I'm certainly not the first person to come up with this hypothesis, but I guarantee you the reason that we're getting so many more stories about someone in some sort of crazed thing there was one just like this weekend, either trying to open up the door in the middle of the flight or something like that, or, this sounds like I'm exaggerating, it happens a fucking lot. Someone jumping up on the drink cart or whatever and trying to take a dump. Stuff like that. The reason it's happening more and more is because people are nervous and would get drunk before going on. That's always been a thing. But now they're combining it with sleeping pills, most likely Ambien, so that they're just passed out throughout the plane. Rhymes with Schmore and Schmavon. A friend of ours that's on the show, she does this a lot, and I know she's going to be a headline at some point. Dump, drink cart. But you combine the Ambien. Oh, is this the recent one?
This is someone who opened the door.
What are you doing, dude? They're just trying to get from A to B.
People don't know how to behave in the.
It's just
anymore.
Look at that. By the way, they're remarkably calm.
Those seatbelts are working hard.
Well, now he's starting to realize this is an issue.
That is not pleasant. Yeah, weren't they like at 600 above and they just turned around and landed? Because that's going to change your whole physics of flying with that door open, the drag.
Well, yeah. Oh, my God.
The truth is, it's a cliche to say, but it's a fact that you are much safer than you are in a car.
Sure.
Statistically, you are.
Yeah.
The most dangerous thing you do is drive to the airport.
Yeah.
And
But that you hear that all the time, and it doesn't work with the human brain. The human brain is so adverse to logic. Like the people that are like saw Jaws 50 years ago and still won't go into the water on a beach, and you can give them any type of statistic you want about how you're more likely to die with a refrigerator falling on you than you are via a shark. You are more likely to get struck by lightning 3 times. Then get killed by a shark, but they can't.
it's a far more interesting way to die. Is like shark.
I would love it. I go as far out as possible. But like if I gotta go, I want to go via shark.
Yeah, not
That's a
some
great
boring.
obituary.
Like
Yeah.
I agree.
And apparently, from all accounts of the people that have survived shark attacks, you don't really feel the pain until very far after the fact. So if the shark does its job and really kills you, it's gonna be relatively painless.
One hopes.
I like watching the wheels in your head. Think about this.
Yeah, so you're like out in deep water, you see a shark approaching, it's just going for your foot, and you're like, no, vital organs, baby. Get in
I'm
there.
gonna start swimming with a bullseye painted right around here so they get to the really good part. So
Oddly, when bad stuff happens and you're flying, you get. I don't know if you get that way with like family or when anything's dire, you get in this operation mode of emergency that you're not really thinking about your mortality. I had gear not come down. Turned out it was just an indicator.
I was ask what has happened to you up in the air, yeah.
So the gear wasn't coming down. It turned out it was only the indicator. The gear was down. The indicator showed that it was not.
Thank you for assuming that
don't know.
any of our viewers are pilots, or even have a 5th grade
As
education.
you know, when you hit the button for the gear to go down,
Tells you it's down or not, and it said it wasn't, but you can't see it because
Yeah.
it's under. There's no rearview mirror, right? So you fly by the tower, and they tell you the gear looks down, but we don't know if it's locked down. So it might just buckle once you land on the belly. We don't know, but you got to land. You're running out of fuel, right?
Oh,
You can't
God.
stay up there forever.
Yeah.
So you go around a bunch, do what you can, set up for emergency, and eventually you got to put it down. Gear was locked down. It was fine. Nothing happened.
But still, you don't know at the time.
Also because
You don't know. This might be your last minute.
doesn't then control call and get like a fire department
All that
and
foam on
everyone
the runway.
ready just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you try to keep it steady because the wings are full of the fuel. That's where the fuel is.
I didn't know that.
And you're that much closer. Like if the gear buckles, you're closer to the ground. And if you tipped a wing, you'd be a bomb.
Oh, see, now I wish I didn't know that.
Wait, do I not want to fly? Do I not want my seat to be by the wing?
I think the
Would I
biggest
have a
misnomer
greater
is that you're
chance
going to
of
live,
survival?
period.
Yeah.
You know, the breathing things like in Fight Club, that just anesthetizes you for your imminent death. Like, they're not going to do anything. It just gets you high.
Out of here.
Yeah. No, it's like, it doesn't matter really where you sit.
There's a certain amount of submission required to like be a human every day.
Yeah.
It's illogical, right?
Yeah.
And yet we do it.
It takes less than 20 minutes for the average person to know if they want a second date.
That's scary.
Yeah, so this is a survey of 2,000 single Americans. Now we're up in the thousands. I appreciate that. This is from Study Finds, where I find all of my studies.
Your studies, yes.
This survey revealed the average respondent knows whether or not they'd like to see someone again at the 19-minute mark of their first date. That may vary by age, too, as older respondents have higher standards for a potential partner. 67% of Gen Zers said they have high standards, while 77% of Gen X said the same thing. When it comes to the date itself, physical appearance is important to 44% of respondents, but a greater value is placed on manners at 51%, personality at 48%, and conversation skills at 47%. Now, here's where this study started getting weird. It was commissioned by Avocado Green Mattress. It then asked how much it matters to you if your date is environmentally friendly. Sustainability is sexy, says Avocado's Senior Vice President of Brand Marketing and Sustainability.
You've fallen into the trap here is that these companies pay these people to do the
It's an important core value.
Nonsense.
Sharing values is essential to compatibility and seeing a future with someone. Never once on a first date did I think, how sustainable is this person?
98% of people liked avocados.
Right.
Whatever.
So, but anyways, I
That
liked
they might have
focusing on the first stuff at the top of the article. I do think it's true. You could be the best looking man, and if you are mean to the waitress, done.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think that that's the only thing for you. I feel you're a little judgy McJudge, sure. And that in any date, if the guy does a myriad of probably 1,000 different no's in Joe's mind, that's it. If they do any, she's like, you remember the ongoing thing in Seinfeld was that he would find these weird things to break up with a girl that were nothing. She's like a male, she's like a female version of Seinfeld in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women do like disqualify a lot.
I know. It's very intimidating for guys.
Once we like him, especially if he's great in the sack, we're like, well, he only went to jail twice, and like, he only killed my cat. I can fix him. Like,
I mean, if he has a good credit score, then yeah.
Yeah.
You can forgive. What about
minutes is very specific.
19-minute mark. I mean, if anyone is looking at their stopwatch on a first
Not
date,
18.
that's a red flag right there. Do you have personal red flags that it's like an immediate, nope, never going to see this person again?
I mean, yeah, I've obviously dated a lot. Funny is really good. Like, funny's good. And I'll admit, especially when I was younger, I was really seduced by power. And that didn't always mean money, although it typically can, CEO types. But it can be like professors or like...
Interesting.
Like, somebody who has authority was real sexy, especially when I was younger.
Yes.
That's probably some weird dad stuff.
No, listen, when I would be out at the bars with my girlfriends, if there was a guy in a suit,
Yeah. Everybody looks good in a suit.
they were always the ones, and like, but they were out of place. I ended up dating 2 different guys that I was at a bar. Everyone else is in normal jeans, whatever, and there's a guy in a suit, and I ended up dating both of them.
Sure.
Different times.
Suits hide, like, everybody looks good in them.
Yes, and it's also like, oh, you came from work, you have a job, or
That
like
too.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's
Which
less
nowadays-
the suit. It's more the money behind the suit.
Well, that's not even true anymore. Like nobody wears suits and people
That's
work
true.
all over.
I know,
and so
yeah.
now you don't have like a direct signal.
Well,
that
now
it
I
makes
know
you,
why
like,
Matt Welsh always wears a fucking suit. Like, even to this show, he wears a suit.
It works. It works.
Ah.
But I mean, yeah, of course, manners, but that doesn't mean being precious about it. If they're too poised, you get worried that they're like acting and you don't
Sure.
know who you're really meeting. Some vulnerability I like. So the last guy that I was in love with was very successful and athletic. He was basically perfect. A little bit of a sociopath, but that was also a little bit sexy. And the third date, he told me some stories that were really vulnerable about like getting food poisoning and like shitting his pants in like the fancy bespoke.
Tell me more.
You got the right audience.
Well, yeah, it was for the stories that you like, apparently. But the mix of somebody who seemed so perfect, letting you in. He probably told the story to everybody because it
That's what
worked.
sociopaths do. They know how to mimic what is normally thought of as vulnerable.
Because they're intimidating and they let you in, so they're a little less intense. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very
Yes.
shrewd of him, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
So I think a little vulnerability is often very sexy. Not too much. They tell you everything date one, you're like, whoa, chill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's too
Yeah.
much. And then not crazy, but maybe some good stories so that they're
Yeah.
not boring.
Sure.
Like, not that they scare you with the way they live, but,
Yeah.
but a little bit of something.
Well, with the
that's-
vulnerability thing, I remember you saying, what were we talking about? But like that it is, women are really into a guy that's done therapy, which blew
Oh
my
my
mind.
gosh. Well, whenever I watch The Bachelor,
Oh, that's it. Of
or
course,
The
we're talking about The Bachelor.
The Bachelorette,
There we
or
go.
Bachelor in Paradise. If someone ends up,
watches them all.
there have been, I think it was, I forget, I think it was Katie's season of The Bachelorette. She would go on these dates with these guys, and anytime a guy was like, "Well, my therapist said," or "I'm in therapy," you would see her eyes change, and she'd be like, "Oh," and they would get a rose. Like you immediately.
That
knew
fascinates me.
that she would be into it. But there is a point to that. It's like they're working on themselves, you know?
Yeah.
They aren't gonna have
Couldn't that be
stuff that
self-obsessed?
they've just sort of pushed down that might bubble up later. You know,
Sometimes bubbling up later is fun.
they're probably better at communicating, at reading cues, emotional.
They're not going to
physical,
abandon their
whatever.
children because they're in touch with their emotions. I mean, So I read this great book, is David White, something White, about mating strategies of all kinds of different animals. And women will test for the guy who will not abandon because
Yeah.
we're wired for that. So like bullfrogs do a bump test. The female will come up to the male on his lily pad and shove him. And they don't want the bullfrog who flips out and attacks her because that guy's like a
Yeah.
sociopath.
This is amazing.
They also don't want the guy who just runs and like leaves and gets another lily pad. They want the guy who stands his ground and defends. It's called the bump test. And this is what, and women do something like that where we kind of look for little signals of, is he solid mentally? Is he?
We have our
No
little
wonder you guys are
freakouts.
always provoking.
It's a little bit of a test. And that's, for me anyway, as one woman, I like humor because when he's there for me, but he doesn't take me too seriously,
Right.
it feels safe. He's like, I got you. Like, you in your crazy and your moods, I'm a bit of a rock, and I'm gonna laugh because I'm not taking you too seriously, and we're not gonna die here. And that feels very safe.
Yeah.
And safety is typically attractive to most women.
Yes.
I find women enjoy men, say about 47 years in age, still have a roommate, maybe 3 or 4 different jobs because they're constantly broke, and really no discernible skills. Anyway, hey, come on, guys. This adds to it. Wonderful. Let's please make you a regular if you will have us. But before we let you go, plugs, promotions, give us all the good stuff.
I mean, if you Googled Amy Taylor model, you'd find a zillion of all the
I have and I recommend it.
magazine. I've been in and on a ton of stuff. And then it's my socials most of them are Amy Taylor NYC, except the ones I couldn't get. So that's Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Amy Taylor NYC.
Follow all of them.
Don't be a stranger.
We will.